I knew something was wrong the moment I stepped through my front door. After 2 blissful weeks of white sands and coconut breezes in Bali, I should have felt relaxed walking into my home again. But instead, I froze right there in the entryway. Something felt off. Very off. The hardwood floors I kept so immaculate had a trail of muddy footprints cutting across them. My suitcase slid from my grip and landed with a soft thud forgotten. I slowly followed the trail through the living room, noticing how my coffee table had been moved barely 6 inches, but not where I'd left it. Everything looked the same, yet everything felt violated. I couldn't explain it, but I knew someone had been in my home. That's when I saw it. A yellow sticky note stuck to the door of my stainless steel fridge. It read, "Routine inspection. Nothing to worry about. Danette Cross, HOA President, smiling face with smiling eyes." The smiley face beside her name was the final insult. I could feel my blood chilling and boiling at the same time. What kind of routine inspection justifies someone entering a private home while the homeowner is thousands of miles away? I had taken every precaution before leaving. Timers on the lights. Mail delivery paused. My neighbor, Mr. Grayson, even promised to keep an eye on the place. That's what responsible homeowners did in Ridgepine Grovia gated community, known for its manicured lawns and strict HOA enforcement. We paid steep monthly dues to fund that security, to ensure everything ran like clockwork. I followed those rules to the letter, even when they didn't make sense. I trimmed my bushes every other Saturday, kept my trash bins out no earlier than 7 a.m. and back by 7 p.m., never let my blinds hang crooked, and never ever parked outside the lines. But never did I imagine that the woman elected to enforce those rules would weaponize her title like this. I called Mr. Grayson immediately. "Did you see anyone go into my house while I was gone?" I asked, trying to sound calm. There was a pause. "No," he said hesitantly, "but I did see Danette's SUV outside your place last Tuesday. I figured she was leaving newsletters or something." I didn't respond. I was already opening my phone and pulling on my security camera app. The system covered both the front and rear entrances. I skimmed through the timestamps until I found it 2:17 p.m. on Tuesday. There she was, Danette Cross, wearing one of her signature pastel pantsuits. She strode up to my front door with a clipboard tucked under one arm. She paused, glanced around, then reached into her bag and pulled out a key. My key. She opened the door like she owned the place and stepped inside. She didn't come out for nearly 40 minutes. The footage showed her walking through my living room, brushing a finger along the edge of my shelves as if checking for dust, peeking into drawers, thumbing through unopened mail. She even opened my fridge. Who checks someone else's fridge during a wellness inspection? She jotted notes as she moved, her lips pursed like a disapproving schoolteacher. And when she left, she had that smug look I'd seen too many times at HOA meetings, usually right before denying someone permission to repaint their mailbox. That was it. I couldn't ignore it. I grabbed my car keys and drove straight to her house. Danette lived 3 streets over in a house that looked like it had been lifted from a real estate catalog. Perfect hedges, white shutters, and a neat little sign in the yard. Danette Cross, HOA President, as if she were the mayor of a town no one voted for. She opened the door before I could knock twice. "Oh, Ava, you're back," she chirped. "How was Bali?" I didn't answer. "Why were you in my house, Danette?" She blinked, but didn't flinch. "It was just a wellness check," she said, waving it off. "We perform them for all residents who leave town for extended periods. You know, just keeping the neighborhood safe." "Where is that written?" I asked. "Where in the HOA bylaws does it say you can enter someone's home without permission?" Her smile tightened. "It's more of an unwritten policy. As president, I have certain discretionary powers, too." "I'm a lawyer, Danette," I interrupted. "I've read every clause in that agreement. You can't enter a home without the owner's permission unless there's an emergency fire, flood, gas leak. You know that." Her eyes narrowed. "I was protecting community standards, Ava." That's when I knew this wasn't just about me. So I started asking around. Over the next week, I quietly spoke to my neighbors. Some admitted that little things in their homes had seemed off. A rug slightly turned, a kitchen drawer ajar. Most chalked it up to memory lapses or their kids. Others had noticed Danette near homes when the owners were gone, but were too nervous to confront her. Her reputation for weaponizing minor violations was well known. Martin, 3 doors down, finally opened up. She let herself in while I was in the hospital, claimed she was checking for violations. I didn't say anything because, well, last time I left my garbage bins out too long, she fined me $75. That was the final straw. I gathered everything: video footage of her entering my house, testimonies from residents, a highlighted copy of the HOA bylaws, photos of the emergency lockbox that was never meant to be accessed casually. I even printed screenshots of her digital inspection notes that she'd accidentally uploaded to the community portal. Notes about curtain colors, pet odors, even someone's excessive Christmas decorations. Then, I filed a police report. Trespassing, unlawful entry, abuse of authority. The monthly HOA meeting was that Thursday evening, held at the Ridgepine Grove Community Center. The room was full, standing room only. Word had spread. Danette sat at the head of the long boardroom table, gavel ready, smile in place. But it wavered as I stepped up. "I have a security concern to present," I said, voice steady, "regarding unauthorized entry into private homes." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Danette's eyes narrowed. I connected my laptop to the projector and pressed play. Silence. The video of Danette entering my home played before dozens of homeowners. I narrated calmly. "What you're seeing is the HOA president unlocking my door with a key from the emergency lockbox and entering my home while I was on vacation. She remained inside for over 30 minutes, inspecting, photographing, and logging personal details. This is not authorized by our HOA charter, and it is certainly not legal under state law." Danette slammed her gavel. "This is out of order." But I wasn't done. I played audio recordings from neighbors, people admitting they were too scared to challenge her. Then I quoted the bylaws, line by line. "There is no such thing as a wellness check by HOA standards," I said firmly. "There are only emergency entry protocols, and this is not an emergency." Danette opened her mouth to argue, but at that moment, 2 uniformed police officers stepped into the room. Her face drained of color. "Mrs. Cross," one officer said, "you're being placed under arrest for multiple counts of trespassing and unlawful entry." Gasps filled the room. Danette's mouth hung open. "This is absurd," she screamed. "I'm the HOA president. I have keys to all your homes. Who's going to enforce the rules? Who's going to stop people from putting flamingos on their lawns or planting non-native shrubs?" No one answered. The only sound was her gavel hitting the floor as the officers let her out. Once she was gone, an awkward silence lingered until one board member cleared his throat. "I move for an emergency election for new HOA president." Seconded. Unanimous vote. 3 months later, Danette stood before a judge who showed her no mercy. Her claims that HOA authority justified her actions didn't hold water. The law was clear. She was sentenced to 18 months in prison, fined $25,000 in restitution to homeowners, and permanently barred from holding any HOA position again. She wept as the sentence was handed down. "But who will make sure the rules are followed?" she cried. "Who will protect the neighborhood?" She got her answer from the judge, whose voice was cold as steel. "That's not your job anymore." And just like that, Ridgepine Grove got a little quieter and a lot freer. We got new leadership, updated bylaws, and, for the first time, a sense of security that came not from surveillance, but from trust. And as for me, I changed the locks. Twice.